We've already talked about the fact that neither one of us really likes soup that much, but I think I may have found a recipe that will help us fight the winter blues.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in fact, I think if we eat this soup on a cloudy day, we may be in for an early spring.
Or that might just be a superstition.
Oh man, that is bad. But what do we have to lose? Let's give it a shot. Welcome to Mom's Wooden Spoon.
Get your apron on and your fanny flicker ready as we cook up some nostalgia.
Ooh, yummy. Hi, this is Kristen.
And this is Carrie.
And today we are cooking a recipe from Mary's Memo, of course.
Of course.
October 30th, 1978.
Ooh, good year.
It was a good year. It's one day before your fifth birthday?
Fifth birthday.
Oh my goodness. And the title of the recipe is called Groundhog Soup.
Ooh, I saw a groundhog on my way here to do this today. Was sitting
Did
on
you
the
really?
side of the road, munching on the grass, looking adorps.
Oh my gosh. They are so cute.
They are.
I watched a video where this man was having his garden just eaten like crazy.
I've seen this.
It's the cutest thing ever, right?
It is.
So his garden is being just destroyed and he can't figure it out. So he gets a motion activated camera and he puts it out. You guys have probably heard this. So cute. And so he figures out, long story short, it's a groundhog.
Oh, but
that's
it is like right up in the camera.
Oh, yes. He ends up making a garden just for the groundhog. And then he fences off his own garden so the groundhog leaves his alone.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, the cutest part of it is that the groundhog comes up right to the camera and just says chomp, 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 chomp.
So cute. And brings a friend.
He actually brings his little wife. And then they end up bringing babies.
So cute.
It is so, so cute. He ends up naming them.
What?
Yes. He names the little boy groundhog Chunk. And
Perfect.
the little wife Nibbles.
I feel like Pearl would be a good little cutie groundhog
Chunk
name.
and Pearl. That is cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
It's Chunk
Chunk
and
and
Nibbles.
Nibbles.
Nibbles is adorable.
That
because,
is.
I mean, come on.
Because they do.
And then the babies come and they fight over the food.
Oh my gosh. So cute. You just want to eat their face off.
I've heard they're actually tasty.
I did not mean that, by the way, grill them up, eat their face off. Now that you mention it, I too heard they're kind of like rabbits.
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
My husband, he ate all kinds of wild game. His
Sure.
mom would cook up all kinds of things. He ate rabbit growing up. They had Hassenpfeffer. Do you remember that from the Bugs Bunny cartoons? It was a king and he said, "Cook, where's my lunch? Where's my dinner? Where's my Hassenpfeffer?"
No.
You don't remember that?
No. What did they say in the Laverne and Shirley Hassenpfeffer Incorporated?
No, Shamil, Shemazel, Hassenpfeffer Incorporated. It's really close. That's hilarious. Apparently, they enjoyed, along with their beer that they made at the brewing company, they enjoyed a good rabbit stew.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
What goes better with beer?
Rabbit stew. Okay, so let's get started.
No groundhogs were harmed in making this recipe either.
Because I'm such a dummy. I read this recipe and I thought this is perfect for Groundhog Day, right? So this is our Groundhog Day episode.
Right.
Perfect, make groundhog soup.
Who doesn't want to celebrate Groundhog's Day without killing poor Punxsutawney Phil?
And eating them on up in a soup with some tomatoes and diced onion.
Yeah.
Yummo. No. Well, anyway, that was my first thought. I was like, oh, we'll eat some groundhog.
My first thought would have been, where am I going to find groundhog?
Obviously, on the road between your house and my house, where you saw that one.
He was very much alive.
But then I looked at the recipe again, and it's 2 words, ground hog. And then I looked up the recipe online, and I'm like, I'm a total idiot.
Well, they spell it out for you online.
Yeah.
So the world must be full of more Egypts than just you, because they do spell it out. Unlike Mary, who had a level of assumption that you were smarter than apparently you are. Online, they do indicate ground hog, sausage, get it?
Yeah, pork sausage, it's a ground hog.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you get there.
I guess so.
It turns out I'm not the only one to make mistakes.
All right. So this recipe has, of course, fresh bulk sausage. That's our groundhog part.
Sure.
And then it has lots of veggies. It has a whole onion that's chopped, and then you saute that with the sausage, which I'll get going in a minute. The recipe's really weird. It says a number 2.5 canned tomatoes. What the heck is that? I
It's
thought.
been a thing.
It was a thing. I looked it up. I found a little chart that back in, well, what year was this? 1978. And before that, they actually numbered cans rather than just saying the number of ounces that were in them. You would just go by a number 2 can or a number 2.5 can or a number 1 can. And basically, they were numbered so that it was the typical amount that you would put into something you were making. So a traditional amount of corn that would feed a family of 4 was in a particular size of can.
Oh.
Right. So the number 2.5 size of can was fairly big. And so they would generally put things like diced tomatoes in a number 2.5 can.
Right.
Right. So number 2.5 is actually equal to 3.5 cups of the product, or 27 to 29 ounces.
All right. And so how many ounces in your big old can?
My big old can has 28 right in the middle.
Oh, so it's not that different.
No, it's really not that different. They've just stopped kind of numbering them that way. But I thought that was so cool. How
That is kind of
retro
cool.
to find out that that's the way our grandma, well, our grandma didn't cook, but
If she did,
when she got out the can of tuna to put it in the middle of the table for us to have some protein with our meal,
it'd have been a number 1 can of tuna.
Probably or smaller if they had. Yeah.
Number 0.2 can. I don't know.
Here you go, folks. Need some protein?
That was the worst. The worst.
Just dig on into this can of cold tuna.
It was room temp.
It was.
Tuna. And I was a kid. I'd only ever had tuna fish salad.
In Miracle Whip, of course.
Oh, yeah. With other things in there.
Yeah.
I had no idea how strong and disgusting tuna fish,
just salty and not my favorite. So I think we probably had on the plate, if I remember correctly, we had Kraft mac and cheese. We had canned beets that were then oozing their pink juice into the mac and cheese.
And the mac and cheese was real runny.
Oh, because she made it with reconstituted powdered milk.
Always powdered milk.
Yes, yes. I mean, she grew up in the Depression. You can't afford to let milk go bad.
Right.
So you buy the powdered milk.
Right.
Right. So it was mac and cheese made with powdered milk.
Yeah.
And then the beets. And then she realized there wasn't enough protein because she was a nurse, and protein
builds your muscles big and strong.
Yes, it does. So she just opened a can of tuna, stuck it in between us. Help yourselves, girls.
Yeah. So you mentioned the reconstituted milk.
Yeah.
And the memories of grandma's flooded back. And so I remember for breakfast, I learned very quickly to ask for French toast.
Oh.
Because grandma could make good French toast.
Yep.
And otherwise, she had the cheapest cereal they sold, and it was these puffs, like corn puffs.
Yeah, wheat puffs or corn puffs in the big giant bag, right?
The bag had been open for all eternity.
They were stale.
Grain puffs.
Chewy.
You'd have to make yourself some reconstituted milk, which you didn't know how to do.
Right.
And so she'd say, just take a little scoop.
Yeah.
So it was weak.
Terrible tasting. Yeah.
And then as soon as that dry, stale cereal hit your milk water, it would melt.
Milk water.
So we learned that if you were going to drink anything at grandma's, you'd make up some milk water and then you would get Quick.
Strawberry Quick.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Which we just called pink milk.
Yeah.
And you would make pink milk at grandma's. That's what made it drinkable.
I remember that. Ooh, yummy.
Milk.
And then we would drink our milk in those Apollo glasses that she had. Do you remember those glasses she had that celebrated the moon landing?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You found some recently. Put them on our Facebook page.
I did. They're on Facebook and Insta. If you guys want to see those, our grandma had that. Oh, and sometimes if we were lucky, she had this little creamer like you'd use for your tea or coffee, shaped like a cow. And it would pour out of its mouth. We could sometimes drink our pink milk out of that.
Who doesn't want pink milk out of a cow?
Super cool.
And not its udder. The milk came out of its mouth.
Let me get up on under there and suckle.
Oh, stop.
Okay.
All went south at Suckle.
Moving on. That word suckle's just creepy in and of itself.
It is. So Kristen's peeling potatoes.
And I'm going to get started on the onion because we got to get that in the sausage.
Okie doke. And I am going to take care of some green pepper.
All right, so just a half. I don't think I finished telling everybody what was in this. We got talking about the cans. Okay, so it actually calls for a quart of water, but our mom went in and scratched out 1 quart and put 2 cups.
Well, let's go with Mom.
You know what? We should have gone with Mom on the 24-hour party salad because it was way too much mayonnaise in the dressing.
Yep.
All right. So, okay, 1 cup diced potatoes, a half a green pepper, a bay leaf. That makes everything delicious. And then just salt, garlic powder, thyme, pepper, and Carrie's favorite, 2 cans of kidney beans.
So this is a texture thing for me.
I think it is for a lot of people.
The flavor's fine. I don't like, with red kidney beans in particular, the skin is very tough. And so you kind of have to pop through it to the mush on the inside.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before, how it's like eating a bug, right?
It just creeps me out. I have not eaten bugs, but if I did, I would assume they're a lot like a red kidney bean.
Yeah.
But worse flavor. But I have learned that there are various kinds of kidney beans. And I spy with my little eye that you got light red kidney beans, my most favorite sister.
It's because I know you and love you.
Yes.
And you had told me once that the light kidney beans just don't feel as nasty in your mouth.
It's like the lighter the kidney bean color, the softer the skin. I don't quite get it.
And you're okay with pinto beans too.
Yeah. Well, they are the magical fruit.
Well, they really are.
Yeah. Do you remember this salad that Mom used to make? She would take it to all kinds of functions that you had to take a meal. It was quick and easy. 3-bean salad.
I do. I actually really enjoy 3-bean salad, but I can see why you as a child would not have enjoyed that.
The 3-bean salad my mom made, they recommended that you get the stuff out of the can. So she would dump a can of red kidney beans.
Well, that was the point of it. It was so easy.
Yeah. And so you dump a can of red kidney beans, a can of green beans, and a can of
wax beans,
which I cannot really think of a much worse name for a kind of bean. Like, who wants to eat waxed beans?
Right. I mean, I enjoyed those wax lips you got at Halloween.
Oh, I didn't even like those.
Oh, they had a funky flavor, but I enjoyed chewing them. Oh, and how about those wax bottles filled with juice?
Didn't like those either.
Nick a nip?
I don't have any idea.
Nipple.
Oh, I like the
Oh my gosh. My son ended up loving those when he was little.
Not my fave.
No.
I didn't care for that.
That wax did not have any good flavor in it. It was just plain wax.
As a kid, that's probably what I thought. Like the beans just had this waxy consistency.
But they were basically just like green beans. They just were yellow.
And then you'd make this little tangy sauce. Apparently, this was quite a thing in the 50s.
In the 50s?
It was from the 50s, this recipe that just went on and on.
Wow.
Great for a picnic. You could leave these beans sitting out in your tangy sauce. They wouldn't go bad.
The vinegar, there's no mayo or anything in
it.
Right. You know, I was noticing as we were going through all the Mary's memos, there were so many marinated salads. The 70s were and early 80s were so big on that.
Yes.
Okay, well, I have the onion chopped. Okay. I'm going to get this in the pan. We're going to get cooking. And then basically, after you cook the sausage and onions together, I think it's just dump it all in the pan and start cooking.
And while you do that, I'm going to keep chopping and doing all that kind of stuff.
And I wanted to talk to you guys about some cool things that came out in 1978. So one of the things I found is that the very first syndicated Garfield comic strip came out in 1978.
Oh, and Odie and John.
Oh, yes, and
Lasagna.
Lasagna and Garfield's girlfriend.
Garfield
Do you remember?
Had a girlfriend?
Oh, yes. Her name was Arlene, and I had an Arlene stuffed animal. And she, you know, she was small, kind of a little bigger than a Beanie Baby, let's say. And Arlene was pink, and she had this really long neck, and she had big red lips. I thought she was so cute.
So here's the most important question of the Arlene doll. Did we ever lay in bunk beds, you on the bottom bunk, me on the top bunk, and decide to have a fake fight over Arlene where you pulled down and I pulled up, accidentally splitting your most beloved stuffed animal of all time in half?
No, that was Blueberry.
It was. I don't know if you remember those dolls that you would buy, or your mom would buy fabric that had the doll printed on it front and back, and then she'd cut it out, sew it together, stuff it, and then you'd have this doll.
Yes.
So Kristen had a blue bear named Blueberry. I had like a Raggedy Ann type, a bootleg Raggedy Ann type named Sally.
That's right.
That I adored.
Yes.
I would chew on Sally.
Oh, God, gross.
So we got multiple iterations of Sally as she got way too nasty to continue on. She did not taste as good when she was new, I'll have you know.
Oh. Well, Blueberry ripped in half. You got his head and I got his bottom, or vice versa.
That sucker has haunted me. Ending up with Blueberry's head in my hands. And it was,
I remember.
We were just having fun. There was no malice involved at all.
No.
Horror.
It was a moment frozen in time. We both were frozen, aghast.
Oh, yes. Just thinking back, my stomach is rolling. It was horrible that I had participated in the decimation of Blueberry.
Later on, maybe at least a decade ago or more, I found the fabric for Blueberry on eBay, and I bought it, and our mom made me another one.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love that Mom made it for you.
Okay, so the meat is looking good. It smells really sausagey.
I can hear it snizzling.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and measure some spices.
Okay, and we're just dumping everything into the pot while the meat is finishing up cooking on the stove. So we have the pot in front of us. We've added the diced potato. We have the green pepper in, and Carrie's adding a lot of salt, which is important for soup. Well, you know, Carrie.
Yes, Kristen. Kristen.
Groundhog Day is based on a superstition.
Of course.
Right. And so I was really, really interested in superstitions. And so as I was researching, I came across what the largest superstitions from each state in the United States are. And so I wrote down Ohio and Georgia's, but if you guys are interested, we'll include the link on our website.
Cool. Okay, so I want to hear what
yes. Okay, so the biggest superstition in Ohio is if you spill salt, you have to throw some over your left shoulder. Salt was so highly prized, Roman soldiers were given this salt ration, and it was called a salarium, and that's where the term salary comes from.
Well, isn't that cool?
Yeah, so salt was so important that if you spilled it, it was really, really bad. And so that's how that superstition came about.
Well, that's odd, though, because you spilled some salt. It's really bad, so you're going to waste more salt.
Right, by throwing it over your shoulder. Yeah, kind of weird.
That is. All right, so that's Ohio.
So that's Ohio's.
Don't put the beans in. They go in at the very end.
Oh, my Lord. I almost did something really bad.
We almost had an emergency here, people. Kristen was going to be picking beans out of the soup.
It says, add remaining ingredients with the exception of kidney beans.
Yeah.
Whoopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Thank you. You caught me.
Oh. Gosh, that was so lame. She goes, thank you, you caught me, and held her hand up in a stop-like motion. I was like, oh, she wants to high-five me for my amazingness. And just as I went to give her a really lame high-five because her hand was pretty low, she moved her hand away. That was pretty harsh.
We high-five all the time. Not at all.
Never. It's kind of athletic, and Kristen.
Oh, I don't do that. I would miss. I would hurt myself. Oh, goodness. Okay, so Georgia's superstition is really neat. I had never heard of this one.
Okay.
If a ladybug lands on you, it's good luck.
Oh, yes.
You've heard of that?
Of course.
Wow. All right, I'm going to put the lid on this pot.
Yes.
And it has to simmer for 2 hours.
Kristen, we are going to get to do so much talking.
Oh my gosh, guys, let me get it on. And then do I have stuff to talk about with you all? It has to do with tuna, and it has to do with ladybugs.
And eating groundhogs.
Oh, yeah. All right. Let me get the lid on this thing.
While you put that on, since I did mention the eating groundhogs,
Yes.
I did want to mention, so obviously the most famous groundhog in the world, Punxsutawney Phil.
Yes.
So in Punxsutawney, there is or was, I don't know if it still exists, a Punxsutawney Groundhog Lodge.
Oh, really?
And back in the day, they would have a groundhog picnic. And guess what the main dish was at the groundhog picnic?
Did they eat groundhogs?
They would go out hunting. That's what the lodge did. They would go out hunting and catch themselves some groundhogs, and then that's what they would eat. While some of the folks were out hunting the groundhogs, the people back at the lodge would drink groundhog punch.
Oh,
wait.
Oh, no.
And so the article that I found information about groundhog punch in said it's a questionable sounding blend. And so let me tell you, what is in this questionable sounding blend? No groundhog.
Oh, thank God. I was about ready to gag.
No, but
Okay.
you will.
Okay.
It is vodka,
Okay.
orange juice, milk, and raw egg. Kristen would like some right now.
The orange juice with the egg and the milk.
Vodka, orange juice, and milk would make it kind of
Creamsicle-y. It's the egg.
Creamsicle-y. And then, I don't know, the egg would make it frothy?
You know what? Maybe, because back when we were first starting to do this Mary's Memo, make recipes,
yes,
we made a punch called Orange Apricot Flip. And our friend Kyle looked up what a flip is.
Okay.
Right? And so back a long time ago, 1800s, maybe earlier, a flip would be a punch that had eggs in it. And they would stick a really hot poker from the fire in, and it would cause the egg in the punch to froth up.
Not turn into
Scrambled egg. Right.
Who doesn't want their punch with a little
scrambled egg? Yum, yum, yum. It would be like apricot orange egg drop soup.
Oh.
Only cold.
I don't know. They did not call this a flip.
Oh, we need to make some right now to eat with our groundhog soup. We're not going to do
Oh my gosh, no.
Well, I did read, talking about eating the groundhogs, that they actually are pretty tasty. The internet said they're tender and delicious if properly cleaned and prepared.
Oh.
Not quite sure what that
How
meant,
you would not properly clean and prepare it.
Oh, no, and it gets even better. They carry no life-threatening diseases for humans.
Oh, great.
So that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
So
no salmonella from the groundhog, just from the punch.
From the punch. People would be getting sick. They'd be like, man, that groundhog soup made me sick.
That bad groundhog.
No, it was
It was the punch.
That's right. All right. Well, the soup is not quite simmering yet. I have it on high. The lid's on. So we're going to let that cook for about 2 hours.
Yep.
And then we'll get back with you guys. Well, the soup is ready.
It is. It's not as watery as I thought it was going to be.
The broth is actually thickish looking.
To be perfectly honest, it looks way more appetizing than I anticipated.
It looks way more appetizing than it did when we first put it in the pot, that's for sure.
Oh,
it was
yes.
like milk water.
It
was tomato water. Tomato water.
Yep.
Yeah, so let's take a taste.
All right,
and
you've been stirring it maniacally.
Well, I've been stirring it because I'm afraid it's going to scald my mouth.
There is steam just billowing off of it right now. It is nice and warm. I will say that the beans do not look like light red kidney beans. They look like plain old Jane old red kidney beans.
They do, but this is yummy. And the beans just dissolve in your mouth. There's no pop. Give it a try.
Lovely. All right. Now, I will say that when measuring out the spices, it did call for an 1/8 of a teaspoon of garlic powder.
Wow.
And I grabbed the little 1/4 teaspoon and I'm filling it up halfway. And I thought, what are you doing, Carrie? It's garlic. Just go for the whole 1/4 teaspoon.
Whoa, you are wild and crazy.
And I didn't even tell you. I just, oh yeah, I went off book and I just went ahead and threw it in there.
Well, it's delicious. Carrie is scalding the roof of her mouth. She's going to have dangly flesh tomorrow. What'd you think, Carrie?
It was way better than I anticipated it would be. The sausage made it.
It is delicious.
I mean, in picking the recipes that we were going to do, we tried to have a nice balance of various types of foods, appetizers, desserts, as well as those we expected to be delicious.
Yes.
And those we did not expect to be delicious.
Right.
And this absolutely fell on those we did not expect to be delicious.
Right.
And what a pleasant surprise. Even with the extra garlic.
Yes.
I would say Mom's change, in addition to mine, fabulous.
Yes.
It is just the right amount of liquid. It's hearty.
It's hearty. It's more like a chili than a vegetable soup.
Yes.
Yes. And my fear was that it would be a very thin, watery soup. Not my favorite.
Good call, Mom.
Yay, Mom.
Yeah, that was a good change, and we applaud you for it.
She might not think that she's the greatest cook in the world, but I'll tell you, she made some decent decisions.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, way to go, Mom.
Well, on that note, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for joining us. Please head over to our website for lots of additional goodies. And if you are enjoying our podcast, please be sure to leave us a good review or some positive feedback. Every little bit counts.
Thanks for listening to Mom's Wooden Spoon. If you like what you heard, don't forget to subscribe. If you want a copy of this recipe or to check out our blog, click on the link to our website in the podcast description. If you'd rather, you could get to our website through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Pick your poison.
Don't say poison. We're making food.